You started off with a sigh. Is that what it is?
Yes.
All right. Welcome to Morning Coffee, where we start it with a sigh.
That's where we are today.
That's right.
That's where we are. When you're in a position we're in, you have good days and bad days.
That's right. And today's gonna be a good day because yesterday was
a bad
annoying.
day. Yesterday was a bad day. You have. I think. I think this is true for everyone. There are just days when the fates conspire against you, to ruin anything good that happens to happen that day. And so,
Fair.
yes, the conspiracy of these fates ends up downplaying your successes and magnifying your failures and or shortcomings, and you just kind of end up with a, and that's where we're at today. just a deep sigh.
Deep sigh. That's okay.
Hopefully things are okay for
all of you out there in not podcast.
And
where are we at?
Morning Coffee Land.
Morning Coffee Land.
Lunch Lady Land.
That's right. And today, I think it's going to be good. We've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of cool things coming up, so we just got to make it happen. So what are we going to make happen today?
Well, I'm going to try to tap into your unwavering optimism. That'll be my first.
Hey.
There will be 10 minutes of vigorous Zen meditation. So
Sounds
vigorous.
Good to me.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really more of the same. We're still testing, and through our process of testing, we're getting recurring themes from individuals that have used the GameWisp product in a test capacity, and those recurring themes are always overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
And so that's wonderful. That's the success that gets downplayed when you're being conspired against by nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so nature. And it's nature this time as the fates last time. It's really everything. And so everything works against you.
Right.
And so we're so that's great. What it's also resulted in, which is not so great, is a list of bugs, and it's not like anything even major, right? It's just this like confluence of little things that people find, and we log them, and we go, we're going to go fix those. And so our bug list right now is up to what, 50 bugs, I think, is what we've hit. And like some of those are really, really minor. Like, oh, this text is too light, I can't see it. Other things are a little more major, like, and not even bugs that have been explicitly stated by people that have used it, but things that we've discovered is like, oh, our, video encoding platform could be more like descriptive in telling people what's going on. That's not even a bug; it's a feature. But it could be more descriptive, and people, and that could be beneficial. And so then you've got this list of like 50 things in front of you, and some days you bang out 20. And some days you bang out half of one,
right?
And some things go better than others, and so that's just where we are right now, and it's kind of a doldrum almost. It's weird, like you talk to these creators, and they use things, and they like things, and they give you positive feedback, and it's really great, and it makes you feel good about yourself. And then you click over to your bug manager, and you look at those bugs, and you're just like, oh, it's like it never ends. It's like we're just never going to birth this thing. Or if
that's how it feels sometimes.
Or maybe people are using it, so it's birthed. It just needs like a shave and a haircut, and it's just fighting us really hard.
Yeah.
I guess that's more kind of where it's at.
Yeah. More accurate.
Yeah, and so that's it. I mean, that's what we're working on. I've got an enormous list of bugs, and
some of those are features, right?
Yeah, and that's even harder. Features are even harder than bugs. If something's broken, you just know it's got to get fixed. If somebody asks for something you're not currently doing, you have to weigh it against all kinds of other factors, like, is it worth spending the time on this before we launch? Is it something we do after we launch? Is it something we do at all? How does this fit in with what we want? And and the thing with asking people for feedback is they give you tons, and it's really helpful, and it's great.
Yeah.
But some of it, like, you just don't even know what to do with, or there might not be anything you can do with it. And so I don't know. It's like, and this was the same. So, I did the same kind of work for my PhD, right? In grad school was like a lot of, it was human-computer interaction. There was a lot of user studies, a lot of talking to users for feedback and stuff like that. And it was a lot of the same thing. Like, you get this feedback and just be like, man, what do I do with this?
What?
Like, what's supposed to happen? And people in general, there's no way I'm calling out an individual tester because what they're doing is awesome. But people in general are great complainers.
Yeah.
And they're very good at pointing out things that they don't like. And so most of the time that's really good.
Yeah.
And it's just learning how to deal with that.
Right.
And deal with that feedback and what the heck are we going to do with it. So that's where we are. And
Whoop.
there's a lot of conflicting stuff right now, because there's a push to like let's just get this thing done and fixed and get this product great and out the door. It's like, well, it's pretty good. Maybe that's good enough, you know, and
at what point is good enough?
Yeah. I guess the point where it can make you money, right? If you're a business, that's how it's supposed to work.
Theoretically, right?
Yeah, and so it's just a lot of I guess it's inner turmoil. That's where I'm at today. I'm just conflicted.
You're turmoiling?
Conflicted. I feel like everything's working against us.
Well, I think that's how the business world works, right? You get worked against because no one, it's not a matter of like, if it just, and that's something I think you learn in this sort of business is like, it's not just going to work, it's not just like, oh, you make as much as you think that's how startups work, where you make a thing and everybody loves it and then you're a millionaire, like, that's just not what happens.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's important that, we realize that, and then, that, I don't know. It's just how it goes with this sort of thing. You work really hard and you have to keep working harder.
Yeah, there are so many hard decisions.
Yeah, and that's true. And people come into the market and they try and edge you out, or, there's just a lot going on always.
People with more money or bigger teams or more connections, and you're just like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And so in a lot of ways, so Greg and this is Greg Rosen, our remote writer, social media guy, said in the chat, I'm pretty sure coping with existential dread is a 101 course in business school. I didn't go to business school, so I missed that. So I'm learning that on my own, coping with existential dread. And that's what it is. Like, it's you sit on the you hear so many conflicting things, right? So I don't know why we're talking about this in morning coffee. This is ridiculous. But you hear like, oh, well, just build the best product. Just build the best product, right? But there are so many examples of like not the best product winning, or not the best product being the one that gets all the traction, or
or the best funded one.
And so it's like there's so many other factors, and so you look at those, and they pile up against you, like if you're trying to run a business, and even if you had the best product, or if you're confident that you're solving the right problem, if you don't solve it the right way fast enough and get it to the right people and they use it, and then all, like there's all these things that revolve around that. And so much of it is like what you can't control. I guess here's you want me to go biblical with a biblical analogy?
Please.
It feels a lot like David and Goliath, right? When you run a business. And so it's like, you can have the best business, we'll say it's David, you can have the best tech, there's your sling, you can have the best rocks, those are your ideas, and you can fling those things, but if the wind's not blowing in the right direction, you're screwed, and the wind you just don't control.
Sure.
And that's what it feels like. It's like it doesn't really matter what's happening, you just throw those rocks and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And so it's learning to cope with that. And so that, we are heinously beating around the bush and shouldn't be talking about this in morning coffee, but we're doing it anyway, because why not?
Why not, right?
But we're beating around the bush, but anybody kind of close to gaming video probably knows what we're talking about. But that's as far as I want to go. And so we're just going to keep doing our thing, fixing our bugs and getting this product out. Even as we speak right now, I can look over my left shoulder and hear Andrew testing with someone, and I imagine the feedback is positive, so that's great. And those are that's the wind that blows the rock in the right direction for you, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep this analogy forever.
It's good.
I'm going to put it on a poster.
I think it's good because I think that's the trick here is that we're not, we're building something interesting and we're all very happy about that. I think it's one of those deals where it is to some extent business is like out of our hands, and we can work really, really hard, and we just have to trust that we're doing the right thing and we're going to build that way. And I think we are. I think here's the thing that's encouraging to me is that we've had, out of all the tools and things and stuff we've built, this stuff that we've been testing has gotten the best most visceral response.
Yeah.
And that's very good. That makes me feel
Yeah,
happy.
and despite what happens, I can go to bed at night knowing that I made a thing that someone told me, more than one person told me.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody we've talked to has told us, wow, this saves me so much time. You got this exactly right. It blows me away how good this is.
Right.
And so to hear that in in the scope of everything else, as a product guy, like that's just,
that is awesome.
that's
right?
what I need
Yeah.
in the light of everything else. But okay, what are you doing today? Let's go back. Let's get back on task. I'm fixing bugs. What are you doing?
That's right. I've got some meetings. We've got 3 tests, or maybe more, with users, like live tests. We got some other folks in there actually testing. So I guess you can call those like feedback sessions or something.
Yeah, whatever.
And
what's the audio term? User looks? No, they're
Yeah.
not user looks because it's actually more functional than that. But
Yeah.
you know what? They turn into interviews is what they turn into.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
they're interviews focused around a product.
Yeah. So we'll be making sure that happens today. I also have I've got to work on a lot of like back-end processing stuff, images for game images, revamping kind of like our image pipeline a little bit now that we've like seen it used several times.
Yeah, the video encoding pipeline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so there's some things, and most of my bugs are all front facing. So
Mhm.
it's features or bugs that are front facing that are just annoying, and I'm hoping to bang out like a bunch of them in a day.
Yeah.
You pulling the weekend shift?
Probably.
Yeah, I'll be here.
So yeah, we'll be working hard. I think we're like you mentioned at the beginning. So we're really close to actually pushing this out for people to use at large, and so and I'd like to be in a spot where we're pretty solid, so we can actually take some time off next week.
Yeah,
Christmas.
Christmas, right? And our kind of like in the clouds goal here is to have something publicly usable by PAX South.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that. And
if before, that's great. If not,
yeah,
we'll-
and that's our like huge motivation. It's like that's what's pushing us. And even if it's inside a program isn't turned on for everybody, but people we've tested with can use it, and they're bringing their fans to the site and they're looking around and stuff, then that's going to be a huge success for us.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're heading. So hopefully by the time PAX South rolls around, we can really talk about this thing to people and see what they say in a more widespread way.
I think we're both in agreement on that. And I like that this is just a side note. She has this raised this person's like a zombie, and he's just sitting there eating.
Hanging out.
Back to the old ways, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just a lot of it's gonna be a lot of cleanup, a lot of making things awesomer. That's a big key.
Oh, one thing I should talk about. Yesterday we were going to do a Watching with Arcus.
Yep.
He was actually in our Twitch chat. We talked about it a bit. There was a really stupid problem. And if the problem that prevented him from doing it, which was kind of our fault, it was so stupid.
Yep.
And if you were in that chat, in that Watchroom event, I actually came into the chat near the end and talked about the problem and how we fixed it and how we prevented it from happening in the future. I think just to kind of give him the credit he deserves for sticking with us and doing stuff. I think he's going to do it on Friday.
Yeah.
Probably around the usual time. This is totally conjecture. This is a big probably, but if you keep your eyes open, you might see that it'd be Friday around 2 or 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm sure he'll tweet and make a little YouTube video about it. But suffice to say, we fixed everything. It was a really, really stupid thing where one of our machines kind of went down unbeknownst to us, and
it wasn't one of the streaming machines.
Yeah,
either. It was like a login server.
Yeah. And
basically.
so the reason we didn't catch it in 2 seconds is because we were chasing a red herring in our streaming architecture, thinking it was a problem with that. And the streaming was like, "I'm fine, buddy. What's wrong? I don't know what you're looking at me for."
Exactly.
And so we chased that red herring for about 20 minutes, and then we actually went and checked the status of boxes on a whole different network. Our streaming architecture lives, just to be frank, lives in Azure, and all the other stuff lives in Amazon.
Yeah.
And so we were like, well, let's go check Amazon. We're like, oh, well, that's obvious.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we're set up now to do some better monitoring of that infrastructure and have a much better idea what's going on. So it was just dumb. It was a dumb thing, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't have happened, and it did, and it won't happen. It shouldn't happen again. Or if it does, we'll be a lot more responsive about it.
Yeah, I'll be fixing a couple things with that as well. So it's just gonna be it's one of those things where you find the problem very quickly right after you needed to have found it.
Yeah.
So that's
It's like walking out of an exam and immediately knowing the answer, the question you missed and why.
yeah, exactly.
That old sinking feeling. That's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah, so I'll be addressing that today as well as the other stuff I mentioned. So
Yeah. So
that's what to do.
That's what we're up to. So we're at 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think we should probably.
So we're gonna bounce and get to work today. Thanks for stopping by the stream here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. You can always tweet us at GameWisp. Once again, like we say every time, we are testing actively. We are always looking for people to help us out. If you're interested in trying our stuff out, you can email us info@gamewisp.com, and we'll set up a little interview. It takes about an hour, and we at the end we do we'll compensate you with a gift card for your time, either a Steam wallet card or Amazon gift card.
Yep.
And feel free to come by and give us your opinion.
Please do. We'd love to have you check it out as well. We're, like I said, really proud of it and excited about having folks in it. So please come check it out.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So that's it for today, I think.
All right.
And we'll be back tomorrow for more morning coffee.
I just got poisoned.
Nice.
Perfect.
All right.
Oh, God. It's like Indiana Jones. I'm out of here. And I'm out of this stream, too.
Indeed.